the cloud connecting. Excellent. Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Friday, January 18th, 2019. I hope you're having an amazing day. This is a group of high energy misfits who gather together in one place for a little while to inspire each other, give each other attaboys and kudos and some awakenings, right? We just share ideas. So this morning, the conversation is going to be about an interesting topic I could not get out of my head. I'm like, there's no way this is going to work, but hey, I've been wrong before. Can you all see that screen? Okay. Find, right? We've been talking about permission and all of these different things. Find. First, I need direction. And I was sitting there in meditation going, okay, I got the direction. I need to find something. And it kept going, no, that's the thing. Find. How long do we look for stuff? How long have we been looking to find our goals, to find our peace, to find our joy? So that's our topic this morning. What do you find? This one, so when I was going through this, I'm like, oh, crap. What do I find? So yesterday I was pretty fortunate that I was able to spend time on me. And I know we hear people say that and we talk about meditation. I got to tell you, I spent probably 6 hours yesterday on me. And what I started was I went through the Neuro Gym with John Assaraf. A year ago, I bought that stuff and went through the 12 weeks and all of that. And it was amazing, absolutely amazing. But what do you find? The things that I sat down yesterday, well, let me look at the slide here. With your ideas, what gets permission in your body to be found, right? There's stuff that we have in our body right now that we don't want. We found it. Somehow we found it. We can give it away. We can find more of it. So I sat yesterday talking about mindset. What do I find? And maybe that's why this came up. Maybe that's why this was so strong, because I didn't see this yesterday as what I find. Beliefs on money. So these, again, this is me being just a little real here. I'm not smart enough to earn big money. That's something I find on a daily basis, that I believe that. I find a reason, right? The reticular activating system. What we look for, we seek. But these were some of the beliefs I have. I'm not smart enough to earn big money. And when I say big money, I'm talking 7 figures a month. 7 figures a month. That's big money to me. Now, talk to somebody who makes 8, 7's not so big. But that's always been a goal of mine. My income has been as big as my reputation. That's a belief I have. That's the stuff I look for every day. If that's a belief you have, those are the things that you look for. That I struggle, and this is a mask I put on about my success. I fear money and what I might become. Again, I sat down and went through this and a couple of pages of this and just let it flow out. Because here's the thing, until we know what we believe, can we change it? Till we know what we find, can we change it? So there's a whole bunch of stuff in here, I believe. And then I went down and rewrote the new beliefs. That's the thing that most people don't. We can beat ourselves up, but then I went down and I wrote the big things. I believe that a 7-day fast will help with my blood sugar. I haven't done a 7-day fast, but I never really verbalized it. So that's a whole nother training doing this, but I'm just sharing with you. It's interesting what I was doing yesterday shows up in this morning's conversation. When you have a conversation, what is permitted for you to find? When you, now wait a second. Yeah, no, okay, must have missed this slide. See, I found some things. When you watch TV, what do you find? What are you looking for? When you do these things, when you watch TV, get on a, so Danya's going to a conference. When I'm building teams, one of the things that I ask, what are 3 things that you want to find before you get there? This whole thing about the brain looking for 2 things, will it kill me or can I find a pattern? Unless you tell it what you're going to look for, you'll find some good stuff at that conference. But I've always asked every one of my team, what are 3 things that you want to find at this event that'll take you to the next level? And they'd have to write them down, because what would happen is when they wrote them down, they'd find it. And then I'd ask them to add in something else so that you're always looking for 3 things. How much time do you spend aware of what you are finding? Right? How many of you, if you got up this morning and went to the bathroom and used a toothbrush, how many of you had to find your toothbrush? How many of you, your toothbrush was lost? Let me ask that. Well, Sean, no, I put it in the same spot. Okay, so you didn't have to find it. You just had to reach out for it and it was there. Why? Because you put it back where it was. How many of us are spending time finding the same crap from yesterday that we don't want today? We said tomorrow's going to be different, but we haven't changed anything. Right? When Tracy came, we talked about it yesterday. When Tracy came with the polka dots and the ponytails, she found something new. Well, the brain gives us that chance to find something new. What is that new thing you found already today? I'd encourage you. There are things in your environment right now that you could find that are new. If I were to ask you to look around your room right now, find something you haven't seen in a while. Seriously, do it. Look around. What's something you haven't seen in a while? Okay, that's new. Did I put that there? The brain is going right now, going, wait a minute, we're supposed to be on a conference call. We're not supposed to be looking away. Your brain, the nexting part of your brain, what's next, what's next, what's next? You've not been, I don't know, maybe you have, but there's not very many webinars you go on where you're told to stop and look around and find something new. Well, this is weird. What the hell is he doing? What are you finding today? What are your finding habits? What are the things you're finding that you're fighting? Oh, I'm going to see Tommy today. Guy's an asshole. I hope we don't have any Tommies on here this morning, do we? I don't think so. But these are the things that it's all about awareness. When I was sitting yesterday going through this, and then I actually wrote I drew out what my belief in habits generator looks like. This is where my beliefs and habits have been coming from, but I can create a new one. And so this is almost 9 months that I've been hearing John talk about your beliefs and habits generator. Because to change out a belief, to change out a habit, to find something new is easy as taking a file out of a file cabinet and putting a new one in. I couldn't wrap my arms around that. And I said yesterday, okay, I'm going to go find my beliefs and habit generator. I'm actually going to draw it. Old ideas out. Generator generates old ideas. The old ideas and beliefs are going out. They're going into a regeneration, a reclaim hopper. They're getting chewed up and they're coming in here to absolute resource. And then they're going to feed back in new ideas and new habits. And I can tell you, since yesterday, there's things that have changed significantly in my life because I did that. And I put it off for 9 months once I learned about it. How many of us have learned to go find something? What does FIND stand for? First, I need direction. I was given direction 9 months ago. I finally sat down yesterday and did it. Requirements, awareness of your finds. When you say today to yourself, well, here's what I'm going to find, you'll probably be more likely to find it, as opposed to, man, I hope I find it. Become aware of what you're not finding. How many of us have ever heard it's not the bars that hold the tiger, it's the space in between the bars? It's not the music that makes the song, it's the space, it's the silence in between the notes. What are you not finding? What are the things that have changed in your life? So are you not finding anger as much as you used to? Are you finding it as much? Are you not finding happiness as much? Are you not finding peace? Are you finding, what are the things that you're not finding that you can give yourself credit for? If you're constantly if you're constantly looking for something, why can't you see it? It's just about questioning and becoming aware, because we know the answer for the next step. We all know the answer for the next step. Whatever the next step is, we've all got that answer. Right? In the movie The Secret, I think it was it Ford who said in the quote, "You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the next step." We all know the next step. What are we needing to find? First, I need direction. Give yourself direction. I think so. I think that's what journaling does. I think that's what setting goals do. That's what becoming aware and recapping the day. So where do you find that which excites you? I can guess when Elaine sees something about the grandbabies, right? If any of us, we know Kathy when she talks about her children and grandchildren, her daughter going to Alaska. We can just see the joy in her face. That's where we find excitement. We have some dear friends from Colorado here today. They've got a pit bull who's laying in our living room there. Her name is Tully, and she's the sweetest, most precious little thing. I spent 5 minutes with her this morning, just giving her kisses because she didn't know where she was. She woke up in a new house, and she was all nervous. And as soon as I got down near her and she could smell me, her tail just went a wagging. Talk about excitement. I don't even know why I'm crying, but that was to me that was joy. And then where do you find what frustrates you? Shit, I could look in that closet, which I'm gonna fix this weekend, when there's just a whole bunch of shit I don't even look at anymore. Has anybody seen this? I don't even know what it's on. It's called Tidying Up. Has anybody seen this show? Oh my gosh, this little Chinese, she looks like an animation doll, and she walks around, and I cry every time she says, "Okay, we're going to say hello to the house. Introduce yourself to the house." And everybody's like, "What do you mean introduce? That's so cool. Introduce yourself to the house." And she sits down and she introduces herself to the house. The one I loved yesterday was they had a whole bunch of books. Kathy, I don't know if you've seen that one, where she taps the books and she goes, "We have to wake up the books. They've been sleeping." It's just, this is such a great, I love this whole concept. And I would just love to watch that rather than the controversy of, "Oh, you're keeping that, she never keeps that. I don't know, this is just," right? But that's why they have the television show. But what she does and the way she folds clothes, I got to watch that again to figure out how to fold my jeans. But this whole thing about tidying up in our own life, but this thing about when's the last time you introduced yourself to yourself? That, I swear to goodness, I cry every time. I could be in the kitchen watching that and she'll go, "Okay, we say hello." And I'll start sobbing because I think it's so honorable. Okay, let's keep going. Oof. Your list of 10 things you want to find. We call them goals. But if you just wrote down 10 things today, and here's what I would suggest. This just downloaded to me. I'd make them simple. Make them simple so you can find them today. Whose car needs gas? I'm going to find gas today. And if you say, "I'm going to find gas today," guess what you'll be able to do? But here's where we start to reorganize the brain. When you say, "I'm going to find gas today," and you find it, you can say, "I found gas today." And the brain goes, "Oh, okay." You're good at saying what you want and then finding it. We're the ones that put the perception on, well, it's easy to find gas. No, it's not. Do you realize what had to happen in order for gas to be found by you? A road had to be built. A car had to be built. A gas station had to be built. Oil had to be refined. Oil had to be drilled. There's this book here. I don't know if anybody's seen this book, A Thousand Thanks, but this book is by a gentleman who said he was going to go thank everybody who made his cup of coffee, and he found out he was thanking over 1,000 people. it's time to give yourself more credit. It's time for you to realize that you find a lot of good stuff every day, but we never give ourselves credit for it. The littlest things to start to change the way your brain operates. When you give it a direction, when you control it in your body and you say, I deserve this, right? December 17th, I said, I'm going to find a group of high energy misfits. Ta-da! I had no idea what it was going to look like, but I found it. When you start to find what you want, what's the fear? What's the fear of finding what you want? What's the fear? What's the fear of it not being difficult anymore? Right? We talked about this a couple of days ago. There's people, when I travel, and when I was traveling on airplanes like 3 or 4 times a week, I'd meet cab drivers in different places and different things, and the weather would change, right? This time of the year. They go, how you feeling? I got one of my 2 colds that I normally get. I'm like, what? Yeah, I get about 2 colds every year. What do you think if he's looking for that, if he puts that out in the universe, I get 2 colds a year? How many do you think he gets? 2. I find money from unexpected ways daily that come into my life. Guess what I find? I've had a credit card that's probably had, well, I'll just put it this way, it's carried a balance on it for probably 10 years. They now owe me $21. Balance paid off, and they owe me $21. Unexpected income. Totally unexpected. But one of my goals is to be free of debt. So what's the sadness? The sadness is when we realize it was the simplest of switches. And then the excitement is that you can find anything you want. And then last, what will you challenge today? What will you challenge in you today to find what I desire? What will I challenge in me to FIND? First, I need direction. Find what I desire. And what will happen if I live more in accordance with that desire? Seriously. Who remembers the movie The Secret? Well, if we remember the movie The Secret, do you remember when he was sitting down and the guy in the robe with the bald head, and he's sitting down to relax in his chair, and he pictures the elephant, and all of a sudden it says, thank goodness there's a delay in us receiving it because the elephant was in the room, right? And then it shows him picking up a big pile of dung. So this thing about delay is there, I think, because of the word testimony. We're tested if that's the true thing we want. Well, why doesn't it come sooner? Because you haven't tested it enough. If you start to play that why game, why this 5 times, right, is typically the answer, the conversation. Ask yourself 5 times, what is it that you want? Well, why do you want that? And what would that do? And what would change there? And when you get down there, you move from here down into your heart. But if you get used to being in your heart, it's a lot easier to find all of this stuff. So there you go. That was my conversation on first I need direction, find. And I have a pretty good feeling there's going to be some conversations about this. So share with me, share with us. What did this stir up in you? What did this awaken in you?
Well, for me, when we talk about finding, one thing I've been trying to find in the last several months is whole health in my body. And here's the strange thing about it, Sean, and everyone else. Take too long to name y'all. Is that I will find my body, the aches, the stiffness improving, and it'll be going along great. And then I lose it again. And I have to re-find it. And so pain in my elbows woke me up last night, and I remember thinking, why can't I hold on to the repairs that happen? Why can't I find out what's happening? That thought literally came into my head in the middle of the night because pain woke me up. And yet I remember a few months ago, I'd been dealing with this and it completely disappeared. So like, what the hell's going on? That's my question.
So I'll throw out the word I heard. I've become very keen to listening to the words.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else heard it, but you said, I'm trying to find.
Ah.
Have you ever done the trying exercise?
No.
For any of you that haven't done this, we'll do it here real quick. So in front of you right now, you're sitting somewhere, put your hand on your desk. I'm just using this so you can, okay, try to lift it. Now, if any of you lifted it, you lifted your hand. I didn't tell you to lift your hand. I said, try to lift your hand. And now you're going to start to try to do this. No, that's bending your fingers. There's the old Yoda thing, right? Do not, there is no try, right? So all I'm going to suggest is that frickin' find it. Because part of your story is to have this discomfort. I'll share this with you, and then I'll let somebody else jump in. 18 years ago, I got started in a therapy company, a magnetic therapy company. And this waitress at this diner called Mulberry Restaurant, her name was Flo. Her elbow hurt her. She had bad arthritis in it. I gave her a wrap, a far infrared wrap, and a magnet. $25 worth of fix. 40 years, that pain went away in 7 days. She gave it back to me in a week. Think about this. She gave it back to me in a week. And I was like, I was the king in Flo's life. And then Flo had to feel terrible and say, you know what, it's just not working. And I'm like, and I'm not confrontational. And here's what happened. I totally let Flo down. You know why? Here's what I learned a month later. I kept watching. Why wouldn't she do this? Every time the truckers would come in, and they would go, hey, Flo, how's the elbow? And she goes, oh, it must be going to rain today, or this, that, or the other, or not going to rain, or it feels good. When they came in twice and asked her how the elbow was, and she said it was good, they didn't have anything else to say to her. That was their story of Flo. I didn't prepare her for the new story of not having the pain. So I would prepare yourself. What would your life be like if you had the last 5 minutes back, or you had the last hour back last night without the discomfort of the pain? What story would you be giving up? Because you said a few months back it was gone. Yeah. So there's some other things in your body that is healed, and now all of a sudden your body, you're at a this is the insidious part of this. At a subconscious level, it's saying, shit, we got to come up with something because otherwise Emily's not going to have a story when somebody asks her, how'd you sleep last night? And she's going to say, I slept perfect. Somebody's going to go, well, I don't know what the hell to talk to her about. I know it's insidious. It's insidious to think that's the truth. But I think that's a reality that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Kathy.
Well, yeah, I think there's a listen, addiction takes many forms. And we get addicted to our story. We get addicted to our angst. We get addicted to that. And just like if you're addicted to a substance, it sucks you back in. It draws you back in. It just becomes part of your rhythm. And I don't know if that's what you're dealing with here or not, Emily, but I will tell you this. I know that words are funny. Right? So you could be thinking, I'm not looking for this. You might be, and that might not be the word, right? That might not be the word that makes you recognize it. But what do you expect? You know, try different words here. What came to mind for me? This weekend marks the 10-year anniversary of when I lost my corporate job. And I don't know of anything that's rocked me to the core, frankly, like that has. And I've been through some pretty disruptive things, but my identity was so tied up in that role and in that gave me my whole thing. And I have to tell you, there was a pity party going on around this house to rival just about anything you've ever seen. I mean, I'd named the company, I'd been there to let the guy in, to open the door, to get the key. It was like a big deal, right? And they delivered a box to the house of my personal effects, you know, because when you lose your job in a corporate environment, and you basically have to leave. You get escorted out, and then they pack up your office and they send you your stuff. So when I got my box the next day, and I started unpacking my box, it was very emotional because a lot of the stuff that was in my office was my life. And like, here's some stranger had touched all my stuff and packed it up and sent it to me. There was a book in there, of course. There were many books, but there was a book in there. And I set the book down on my desk, and it opened up to this page. And on this page, it had these words: "We become what we think about." It was a quote from Earl Nightingale. My father's life had been turned around by Earl Nightingale many, many years before that, when he was a young Marine just back from Korea. And it so startled me, those words, because I had been spending all my time in those few days thinking about what had happened to me. I had spent zero time thinking about what I was going to do next. So I wasn't going to get out of that place until I stopped thinking about that place.
Yeah.
And, you know, Earl Nightingale, I Googled Nightingale. I found out The Strangest Secret was available now in, you know, digital form. And I sat listening to that gravelly old voice of Earl Nightingale, which is like the balm for my soul, because it's the voice my father listened to. And, you know, he used to listen to his radio show back in the 50s. And I thought, listen, look at this. Look at how amazing this is. My father can't be here. He's in heaven. I can't hear his voice, but I can hear a voice that I so associate with him. And it made me stop. It made me start looking for something different. It helped me recognize you're going to find what you seek. And if what you seek is really, what are you thinking about? I mean, to Sean's point, it's like, what are you putting out there? And this was such a huge thing for me. And here's the deal. There's a phrase that we use when we do evaluations where you're doing a pro forma thing to decide if you're going to do something or not in business, and it's called opportunity cost. If I do A, what is that going to cost me? Not in terms of hard dollars of what it's going to cost you, but what do I have to not do to do this? And so when we're hanging on to whatever it is, when we're hanging on to the angst, when we're expecting the pain, when we're hanging on to the fear, there's an opportunity cost, because you can't do that and do the other thing too. You have to choose. And when we have to choose not to fear, then we have to choose a new story, which I love that, Sean. There's an opportunity cost, because we got to give up the old story.
Yeah.
You don't get to have both of them. You have to choose, right? So when we have to give that up, a lot of what we have to give up with that are the excuses. Like for me, I would say I would love to find an eating plan that I could actually be successful and lose weight. No, I don't, because then I have to come out from behind the excuse and I have to do it. You know, it's like, oh, isn't this, oh, here's just another one that didn't work. See, I told you it wouldn't work, right? I had this conversation with my brother last night. You know, we both do really well on these kinds of, when we have these kind of eating plans, we both do really well. And he said, yeah, but we just won't stick with them. I said, well, then maybe that's what we need to figure out. Maybe we need to stop figuring out which one we should do. We already know which one we should do. Maybe we should be thinking about, how do I stay on this? How do I sustain this? It's like, how do I make this fun? How do I make this good, right? All of these conversations are so intertwined in my mind. But when you were talking, Sean, I just couldn't help but think, we're going to find one of two things. When we seek something or we fear something, are we actually positively being drawn to it, or is our fear putting it there? It's if we choose what we seek, or do we choose what we fear? And fear will always trump if you don't deal with it. So I think a lot of this stuff is all intertwined. I mean, but it's just like the word permission, that when we talked about permission, you have to give yourself permission to find. If you have this thing that's like, I really want to find this, but you've never given yourself permission to find it, you have something in conflict. You're not going to find it. It isn't going to come. But anyway, listen, this is such an important thing. If we could just wrap our heads around this, and I'm struggling with this right now, major, because I have to really, it's like Sean, it's like, I'm really spending a lot of time on me. It's just like, do you really want that? Do you really want that? Because if you really want that, you wouldn't be waiting to say, well, see, I knew I couldn't have that. No, if you really want that and you're really committed to it, then nothing's going to get in your way, because that's your power, right? That's your focus. But I hear you, Emily. Listen, as an RA sufferer, you know what? That's part of my story. And
you know what, Kathy? One thing that came to my mind as you were speaking about the things we tell ourselves is, I've been saying for the longest time, and Linda, you can attest to this, when I get my hip done, everything will improve. And so there's my block, is I'm waiting for my hip to get done for everything to improve. So I got to change that story real quick.
I'm going to jump in here real quick, if that's okay, before I leave. I want to say something. Yeah. There's two things, actually. The first one is, if you've never done a course on conscious language by Marcella von Harding, amazing. Conscious language. It is phenomenal. Just the things that we say that we don't even realize that we say. So look at that. The second thing, we were talking about fear. And how we have to change things. I have been doing Facebook classes for a year and 3 months, something like that, and I may get all my team on there, but there's never any new people or anything like that. No real substance, no real community, no real comments, anything like that. I may have 4 people show up, basically. Waste of time is what I was thinking. Facebook class is just waste of time. And then I realized that obviously I needed to change something. And so this go around, I have been personally inviting people to come instead of just doing a click, 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 invite kind of a thing. And do you know, I've already got 19 people that say they're coming versus my 3 or 4, just because I've changed and personally wrote instead of just hitting the click button. So now my fear is, our fear graduates and changes, okay? We start one place and then our fear grows to different positions. So now it's like, oh crap, now I've got to have a really good class because I've got people coming that are, never come before. So now I'm thinking in my head, my conscious language is, can I do this? Can I do it right to help these people, to give them the information that they need? So I think when we lose one fear, we automatically in our human brains jump to another fear. Our fear just keeps increasing along the way. So keep conscious language in your mind. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I got to get out of here, and I'll see you guys Monday.
Thanks, Tanya.
See ya.
What a cool community. What a bunch of great misfits fitting together. What else is showing up? What else is running through your soul? Where are you feeling this? Right? I know yesterday when we talked about it, we ended a little early because it was a tough topic. I mean, this whole thing about introspection. So the question now, and I'm just so grateful that I can hear, you know, first I need direction. And when we have the direction, we'll find what we're truly looking for, as opposed to finding what as Kathy was saying, the story we don't want. Where's this sitting in your body? What are you feeling? What would change if you started to find everything you look for? I got to tell you, so you can't tell Michelle this, my bride, she is like on cloud 9. She has gone into this new position and she has upended the apple cart because of the things that they needed. And it's kind of like, let's say we dropped Kathy into this business and she became the executive oracle for this particular company. How many of you believe that she could see things that most people will never ever see? Well, that was Michelle being dropped into this new position. And everybody was saying, we can't do that. Nobody's ever done that. We've thought about that, but they won't approve that. In the last 4 days have been 100%. Now, here's the thing that I love the most, is Michelle says, I'm going to make Friday a great day. I'm going to do a double session of meditation. All of these things that she's wanted has showed up because she cleared out the bullshit of why it shouldn't show up. And she's just great at what she does. It wouldn't be like me going like the Holiday Inn commercial, right? I may not be a surgeon, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night, right? I'm in the middle of the operating room. Who are you? There's reality to all of this. Michelle has put in the time. Michelle has put in the effort. There's things you've put in the effort for. There's things you put in the time. There's things you're that far away from making happen. And it's water doesn't boil at 212. I can put water at 212 and it never boil. Inside that 1 degree is 100,000 times the amount of energy necessary to turn it from 212 water to 212 steam. We're right there. We're right at that precipice. You're right at that edge. And that's where, I forget who said it, but if you plant a tomato plant, and you see the little stem shoot up, nobody's going to pull the stem out to go, I wonder, are the tomatoes in the roots? No, because if you pulled the plant out every time to check the roots, the plant would die. So just know you're that close. You're so close.
You know, what the word that was, the thing that was going through my mind as you were talking, Sean, is along these lines that might help us find the right question for each of us, you know, because it could be a different question for each one of us to get to the root of this for ourselves. But here's my question for me. This is what I'm dealing with. What have I accepted? What have I accepted as true or not true? And have I accepted something false? Have I accepted a lie? You know, and sometimes we give, Daniel Pink did this talk about how, the talk that he gave was about salespeople dealing with rejection. But it was so profound what he did that it really, to me, was just like, went way beyond that. But he talks about the people that really can deal with it and shake it off are people that understand these things. It's not personal. So there isn't some grand conspiracy theory out there that says everybody else can have this, but you can't. Right? But we get that, right? So we get it, right? We think, okay, well, I don't know why I can't have that. Everybody else can have that, but for some reason I can't have it. We make it personal. We like create this little conspiracy theory going on about it can't be us. And so we make it personal. And then the thing is that we make it pervasive. We make it, it's not just about this thing, it's about everything, right? So if I can't get this person to sign, I can't get anybody to sign. If I can't deal with this health issue, I can't deal with any health issues. If I can't get my damn desk cleaned off, I can't do anything at home, right? We make it pervasive. We take we don't contain the context of something. And so we let it be so much bigger than it is because we don't contain it. And then the last thing is which is my favorite, is we make it permanent. We think this is always going to be how it is. So just think about this in terms of a salesperson walks in, they get rejected. They, oh, well, you know, yeah, they all reject me, or everybody's going to reject me, or I'm never going to have anything except rejection. So you can see how it applies in that sales context, right? But lift it out of sales and think about that for us, how much we personalize things, turn it into some little conspiracy deal about it's us. Or we make it now it's about everything, or it's permanent. It's like, what are you accepting as true for you? Like, because of some of the things that I've been through, I accepted that this idea that, because I love public speaking and I had been very active in public speaking, that that was just part of my life that was done. I wasn't going to do that anymore. That I would just have to speak on podcasts and speak online. And then somebody says, well, somebody made a comment to me. It's just like, well, when do you think you'll be back? And I was like, be back? No, I'm not coming back. And then I thought, when did I decide that? When did I accept that I was done speaking? So I thought, I wonder what it would be like to speak again. I said that little germ of an idea, right? So then I got a call and they said, would you come and speak to the Nonfiction Authors Association meeting? I'm thinking, my gut reaction was, no, I don't do that anymore. And then I thought, why don't you do that anymore? Why? When did you decide you couldn't do this? So last night, I was the featured speaker at the Nonfiction Authors Association, right? But it was just like, when I was driving home and I'd had such a great evening, such a great time. They were such a great audience. I mean, we just really had a marvelous time together. I stood for 40 minutes in the front of the room. I didn't fall down. When it came to Q&A, I got to sit down, so I didn't have to stand anymore because, you know, I did need to sit down. But I thought, well, I wonder when I start if I should tell them. Well, my legs might start to shake and I might feel wobbly, and so I'm going to have a chair up here. And then I thought, you're deciding you're going to have a problem. Stop deciding in advance what's going to go wrong, right? Say, I've committed to do this presentation. You're going to do this presentation, and put that out of your mind. Don't focus on your fear. Focus on the value, right? Do you know what? I never thought about my legs the whole time I was speaking. But I had to make a conscious choice to let my legs be strong. I had to give myself permission to not have the problem. This is hard. Because, you know, it's so much easier to just say, I know, I really loved that. It was a great time in my life and I loved doing it, but I just can't do that anymore. Bullshit. You know, we have to stop saying why we can't and start saying, how could we? And we might have to modify it, right? You know, there's plenty of people that speak on stage from a wheelchair, right? I mean, at what point did me having issues with RA in my legs make me decide I had to give that up? Right? So listen, I'm telling you, everybody on this call, every single one of us have accepted something as beyond us that is not. Every single one of us. And we do it every day. So, and I would just encourage you to examine your, don't let the words themselves say, well, no, that doesn't, there's a way that you can articulate this, because this is true for all of us, every single one of us. None of us, everybody on this call has lived long enough to be here, to be in this place, to have had something that has said, that we've said, okay, well, apparently that's not for me. Right? We've accepted that. And I'm just challenging you. And you listen, there are times when acceptance is absolutely the right response to things. There absolutely are times to say, Uncle, okay, but you know what? It usually has more to do with other people than ourselves. It usually has more to do with saying, okay, that's what they want, that's what they choose, and setting them free and accepting that. It has far more to do there than with us. But anyway, I was thinking about you guys last night as I was driving to the thing, and I thought, you know, that group has made me just start challenging how I think about things. And look at me, here I am driving to a place to be in the front of the room again, and who would have ever thought?
Even jellyfish have survived on this planet for millions of years without a brain.
How scary is that?
Well, all right. So this today, ouch. That's all I can tell you. So stuck in fear. Unbelievable. That's where, I mean, this is hitting me in my gut. But one thing, well, there's a couple. Who out there wishes they had a crystal ball? You know, that you could just look into it and you know the direction you're supposed to go. Because what keeps coming up with listening to all of the greatness that's been spoken today, I question whether I'm supposed to be going that direction. For me, it's all about when I feel pressure within myself to figure out what it is that I'm supposed to be doing or the direction that I'm supposed to go, I question that up and down, left and right. Am I doing the right thing? Is this the direction that I'm supposed to go? Because I still don't believe enough in me to know that, to believe enough in me to know that what I'm thinking is the right direction. So holy moly, do I have to hop off here and sit and have a conversation with myself. Huge today, painful, but huge.
Leslie, have you seen the Christmas one with the train? What's it called? Polar Express?
Yes, long time
The
ago.
girl, the girl in there
Mm-hmm.
who every time she would ask something, they would ask her, "Are you sure?" Right? Remember that?
Right. Yes.
But at some point, she got tired of being asked that. And she said, "Yes, I'm sure." Because we know it at a cellular level, at a nano level, we do know. It's when we let the ego talk about it. So where it's showing up in your gut, that's trauma, right? You're experiencing trauma sitting in your chair right there, thinking about an idea. So I would encourage you, yes, sit with it. And then I would also use the phrase, and
I love that.
Well, I think it's also detaching yourself from the outcome of the decision. So there's a big piece of this is to say, I'm going to choose to do this, and whatever happens, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take the judgment away from the decision and just let the decision be the decision. So we put this heavy, heavy, heavy weight and expectation on, if I choose A or B, and if I choose B, am I going to wish I'd have chosen A? Well, I don't know. But you know what? You can always go back and choose A later. I mean, we put this like major thing on there, but I think you're right. I think it's a matter of personal confidence, but I think it's also a matter of understanding the lack of permanence. It goes back to that. It's personal, pervasive, and permanent. Nothing you decide today is going to be permanent. You're going to get to make a new decision tomorrow.
For a minute.
And I think, you know, I mean, granted, yes, we need to stick with things and we need to be committed to things. And yes, it's none of this is, I don't mean any of this in a way that's trite. I'm just saying, though, that here's where I came to have peace with this. I decided that I was going to make the purpose of everything to learn. And I'm sure you guys have heard, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. No. All the time I learn.
If you choose to, correct. You
Yeah,
have to
but
listen.
what I'm saying is, when you win, are you saying you don't learn?
No, you win. I mean, you learned, sorry.
When you lose, you don't win? See, we do that to ourselves. We put that valuation on things, right? And what if all you're seeking is to learn? Will this decision help me learn? Yes. Doesn't matter if you decide A or B. Whichever one you choose, you're going to learn. So either one works, right?
Giving yourself permission to fail forward fast.
Yeah, but even if we and yes, and because the faster you make the decision, the faster you get into action, and your true choices live in your action anyway. You don't even know what your choices are yet because you haven't started acting. You haven't started moving. Your true choices don't even happen until you get into action. So the number one thing you got to do is decide what will put me into action and get yourself into action. And then there'll be 3 or 4 choices you don't even know about yet that'll pop up and you'll think, oh my gosh, look at this. It's what do you seek, right? It goes back to that, what are you seeking? Because whatever it is you're seeking, that's what you're going to find. But I think, Leslie, for you, it's just you put so much angst into getting it wrong. You have so much focus around getting it wrong. What if you couldn't get it wrong? What if you just took that out of the equation and said, there's no wrong choice. There's just the choice I make. None of them are wrong. That's just what's on the thing. You know, if you go to a salad bar and they've got all this stuff out there for you to choose what to put on your salad, there are things out there that are wrong. They're just choices. They're just choices. Maybe you don't like that kind of thing, or maybe you like this kind of thing, or you're doing this kind of eating thing. So these things are better for you. But there's nothing out there that's wrong. They're just choices. And I think if we can get that valuation mindset, if I do this, it's right. If I do this, it's wrong. And that's what, for me, it's just like the purpose of everything is to learn. When I'm successful, I learn. When I don't achieve the results that I thought I wanted, I'm still learning. And guess what? Sometimes not achieving the results I wanted is better for me because the results I wanted weren't the right results for me. But anyway, I just think a lot of this is, for all of us, is just a matter of, you know, we get off of our what? But, and getting ourselves into action. But this is so important. You're never going to find some, what's that saying? I don't remember who said this, but whoever said it, success rarely finds us sleeping or finds us unawares or something. It's like there's a great quote about this, but it's really about, you know, it's like inspiration must find you working, and those kind of things. It really is about how do we keep ourselves in action, for me. But the way I did that was to just say the purpose of everything is learning. You know, like Marianne Williamson says, the purpose of everything is love. And that's wonderful. And yes, I think every one of us, our purpose on earth is to be and create and spread love. But the purpose of everything that's in my life is, for me, is about learning. And that's what gives me a richer experience. And it's what removes this valuation question of whether I did right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. There's just, this is how I learned today. I don't know if that will help you or not, but I think if you could just say, I have 3 choices, to say, well, maybe 3 isn't enough. Maybe you need to add 2 or 3 more. Maybe you haven't expanded your thinking enough to say, but you have to say, I'm going to make a choice today, and whichever choice I make today will be fine. And if you have to, flip a quarter and see which one you really want to wish on the way down, right? Because that's what you really wanted.
Thank you. I so appreciate you, Kathy. You bring lots of wisdom. Not that you don't, Sean and Robert.
No. So that, again, I know that that second part's always going to show up. That's us wanting to make sure everybody's okay.
Yes.
This is a group of misfits that we've all fit together somewhere, somehow, and more will join us if they so choose. But when you give claim, it doesn't mean you're taking it away from anybody else. So I just want to throw that out. I just happen to be the misfit that said, I'm going to go do this, but y'all showed up, and I just sit here and I giggle every time. Look at this wisdom. Look at this greatness that resides here. So whenever we want to thank somebody, just leave that thanks with them. So listen, again, I don't know how this happens. I'm not going to question it because I'm not going to put ego in it. But a word like find brings these kinds of conversations up. Isn't this so cool that we're really starting to examine the things that at our core can help drive us and unlock this? And part of me said, oh my gosh, Kathy went speaking. How freaking cool is that? There's things that we're all doing more of because of every one of us here. So whether you speak on the call or you listen, your energy is here. And I promise you, no matter what you do, being a part of this is a significant part of my life. And I'm grateful for it. So I can tell you what I find. I find love every time I show up here. I'm almost like going, shit, the weekend's here. So we'll figure out, I'll figure out how to get over my addiction of all of y'all over the weekend, but we'll figure it out. I just want to say thank you. Have a blessed weekend. And I know that I'm a click away. And we all are. I love the way I see the interaction that's happening inside the community. We're here to help each other. And I think we're all a click away of help for any one of us. So I love you all. Have an amazing Friday. Find what you're looking for, and it's going to be cool. I'll see you all Monday. Love you tons. Bye for now.